Hi, everyone. Matthew DeSantis here with NYRA Bets, and welcome to this very special preview of the Coaching Club American Oaks taking place this Saturday. And we are excited for this field up here at Saratoga, grade one, of course, highlighted by Thorpedo Anna, who seems to have become the dominant filly in this 3-year-old division. Going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to press that like button and subscribe to NYRA Bets YouTube today to get all of our great content, whether that is evergreen content on handicapping and betting, race previews like this one, full card analysis like we have coming up later this week, where Matt Dinnerman, the track announcer for Monmouth Park, and I will go through all 12 races on the Haskell Day card, give you our top pick and top value play, as well as a lot of other great material here, live streams and all sorts of other fun stuff. So like I said, make sure to press that like and subscribe button. Well, joining me today to talk about the Coaching Club American Oaks is someone I have an immense amount of respect for and who has ridden in a ton of big races and won a ton of big races. And so for this, I wanted to bring on my good friend here at NYRA, Richie Migliore. Richie, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me about this race this weekend.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I'm up here in my office at the track. I've looked at the race, and it's at the heart of it, I'm a fan. So, like being able to talk about this stuff is always a pleasure.
Well, I wanted to talk about something before we dive into the specifics of the race. You've been in a lot of big races. You've been in some races with big fields and some races with short fields. And I'm curious, obviously a 5-horse field this weekend for the Coaching Club American Oaks. Do pace dynamics, does jockey intentionality change at all when you see a short field? It may be taking advantage of something that otherwise you might not be able to. I just remember a few years ago, we saw obviously an upset in this very race with Maracuja beating a really heavy favorite Malathat in a very similar dynamic, short field, heavy favorite. And just curious, as a jockey, how does your mindset change in a short field?
Well, you kind of, if you're on the favorite like Thorpedo Anna here, you have to be a little bit defensive. Everybody's aware of where everybody else is in a short field. In a bigger field, you have so much to contend with. You really can't key on any one particular horse. It gives you the opportunity almost to get lost in a field a little bit. With Malathat and Maracuja, I think Johnny Velasquez got caught up with the idea that, there wasn't a lot of pace, and he was the one who kind of had to make the first run. And he kind of set himself up to be picked off by Maracuja late, and not to belittle Maracuja's ability. Obviously, she had to be good enough to take advantage of that. But you see more often than not, Matthew, that horses get in more trouble in small fields than they do in big fields, again, because everybody's aware of where everybody else is.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting point. And we'll talk a little bit about this race. 5 horses in the field. Your number one horse, Candied, for Todd Pletcher, Barbara Tina for George Weaver. Obviously, the heavy favorite, Thorpedo Anna, 1-2 on the morning line, set by David Aragona. Leslie's Rose for Todd Pletcher, and then Intricate for Brendan Walsh. And what I'm interested talking about here, Richie, is going back to that discussion about keying in on a horse. On paper, Thorpedo Anna would seem to be the speed of this race. But does things change when Leslie's Rose may look at this and go, hey, let's really send, Johnny Velasquez, of course, aboard Leslie's Rose. Maybe we don't want to just let Thorpedo Anna get an easy lead, and maybe Leslie's Rose has a little bit more intentionality. Is that something that, somebody like John Velasquez looks at these past performances as well and maybe tries to press the favorite a little bit more?
Well, I really could see a scenario like that working out. Todd Pletcher also has Candied. Now, they're different ownership, but it helps both horses in a respect, because if Leslie's Rose goes, and Johnny Velasquez's style is to go forward. He's a rider that understands the importance of position, and he's made a Hall of Fame career out of going forward with horses. If she goes and they show an intention to make the lead, Thorpedo Anna has to kind of think it through as far as, well, do I want to engage and maybe set it up for Candied? So it gives Leslie's Rose a little bit of an edge. And then Candied, to me, is the horse to beat, and her last race was very good. So I think Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez have to think about that. There's 2 horses from the same stable, and it could actually help each other because they have complementary styles.
Yeah, so you mentioned Candy being the horse to beat. So obviously Thorpedo Anna, the favorite up here, winning last time out during the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga meet, winning that Grade 1 Acorn and doing so impressively. But you think maybe Candied could maybe turn the tables a little bit and get the win this time in this spot?
Well, it's interesting. I think Thorpedo Anna is a generational type of talent. I'm a huge fan. But last night, as I was looking at this race, I kept going back to Candied. And, Candied to me was unlucky in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last year. She very easily could have won that race. And then, she got back to the Ashland. And of course, everybody with a 3-year-old filly that time of year, much like the boys with the Derby, they're trying to make the Kentucky Oaks. And maybe, her preparation didn't go quite as planned. They kind of forced it. And then she was beaten in the Ashland, and they made a decision to, kind of regroup. And she comes back with that huge effort in the Lady's Secret. And that was the kind of effort that makes you think, well, maybe she could upset the apple cart here. As big a fan as I am of Thorpedo Anna, I think Candied might be getting overlooked a little bit. I mean, she is your second choice, but really her resume is very strong, stronger than I even realized until I really started digging into the race.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. I mean, obviously has the same last out Beyer speed figure, 99, as Thorpedo Anna. And like you said, very impressive in that victory at Monmouth in the Lady Secret over a horse Honor to Lady, who wins next time out. Saddle Up Jesse, a horse we've seen who finished third that day, a horse we've seen win stakes races at Aqueduct. So very solid field there. And you're right about the Ashland being that kind of, I think, unusual race, because I remember it also from Just FYI, who had her training interrupted a little bit. And that was kind of the first run back since that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You'd expect there to be a little bit of rust after that long of a layoff, especially for a younger horse. And now you saw that effort second back, and now she's essentially third back in the form cycle. And you'd expect a strong effort there.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like Manny Franco getting the mount here. Manny Franco is a rider that really kind of demands from horses, puts the bit up in their mouth. At times, Candied hasn't been the most handy changing leads. Manny Franco, he's such a physical rider. He'll pick a horse up and put him back onto their right lead. I think that's really going to be a good fit here. She gets a good inside draw. Again, I think Thorpedo Anna is special. As a fan, I'm looking forward to seeing her compete. But wagering on the race, I give Candied a real chance at an upset.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think that's a great point to bring up from a wagering perspective, because while the morning line is set at 1-2, I could easily see Thorpedo Anna going off at 1-5 or an even lower price. And whenever that happens, the board gets a little bit wonky and everybody else starts floating up to maybe an unreasonable level, and you can catch a price in an upset that you might not be able to otherwise. So I'm interested, Richie, in if Thorpedo Anna does win this race, though. Do you think that there's a chance that she takes a shot against the boys in the Travers, that Kenny McPeak might decide to do something like that in the next time out?
I do. Kenny's a guy that's not afraid of taking, chances, taking on challenges. He shipped horses to England, to Royal Ascot. He won a Preakness with a filly already. I could see that certainly happening, because Thorpedo Anna wins the Coaching Club. She has 3-year-old filly championship locked up as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And I think most people would agree. So if she was to run in the Travers and not win, it doesn't diminish her, championship aspirations. And again, just Kenny McPeak is a guy that does think outside the box. And I think he likes taking on those challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we saw him do it this year, even with a horse like Mystic Dan running in all 3 legs of the Triple Crown, not afraid to have his horses run in those big spots. And as a fan like yourself, I appreciate that. That makes it a lot more fun, I think, to watch these types of races, and even more fun from a handicapping standpoint too. Richie, thank you so much for joining me today. Let the folks know where you're going to be on America's Day at the races. Which days are you going to be on, and what else do you have going on? And I also, for folks in Saratoga, they can check out the MIG sandwich. They can get a little bit of that too.
Yeah, well, up here in Saratoga, Matthew, it's Saratoga Live. We go back to America's Day at the races when we get down.
Oh, that's right.
No, it's fine. And at Cardona's, great Italian delicatessen specialty market right here in Saratoga. You can Google the address. All of their food is outstanding. Now they put in a beautiful kitchen, so they got a bunch of hot foods, and The Mig sandwich, my creation, and portion of the proceeds from every sandwich goes to the permanently disabled jockeys fund and thoroughbred aftercare. So it not only are you going to eat well, you're going to be contributing to two very worthy causes.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I need to run over there and get a couple of MIGs, actually, maybe to hold me over for the week while I'm working here. And so, Richie, thank you again for joining me. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for watching this preview of the Coaching Club American Oaks. Make sure to press that like button and subscribe to the new NYRA Bets YouTube channel. For Richie Migliore, my name is Matthew DeSantis, wishing you a great and prosperous day at the races and reminding you, friends, it's now post time.